I think it's really dangerous to casually and hastily just label others as abusive. The narrative surrounding narcissism is often being used as a way to dehumanize dysfunctional people. And while it's true that experiencing childhood trauma isn't justification for being an aggressive, abusive adult, it's impossible to unravel that abusive adult from the uncontrollable, dysfunctional childhood that they had. And psychologically, we know that people who are narcissistic grew up in an environment where they didn't attach to a caregiver. They just didn't attach for whatever reason. And then the child feels rejected by the family group and so develops the adaptive belief that the world is hostile. So then the adult believes that they'll never be loved because that's just not a thing. It's how they've convinced, that's how their brain has rationalized that they weren't loved as a child by just, oh, it's not real. And of course, this kind of deep child innocent pain is worthy of compassion, but at the same time, each of us is responsible for nurturing that inner child when we're adults, and nobody has to subject themselves to anything that doesn't support them. When we believe that the world is a dangerous place, it makes us more likely to be on guard for attacks, and we're going to respond more defensively. At the same time, when we simply label others as abusers and reinforce that narrative of how they manipulated and hurt us, we continue to give them power, long after the fact. This isn't to take away from the atrocious and awful investment of energy that some people put into being malicious and being controlling and being abusive. Absolutely, it's a real thing. But once we're done with that situation, to solely focus on how that person did us wrong, we miss the opportunity to see how our behavior encouraged and allowed the dysfunction of the relationship. When we analyze our part of the dysfunction, that's shadow work. Without taking responsibility for our mistakes, we don't have the opportunity to make a different decision in the future.